From the Bermuda Triangle to underwater pyramids in Japan, these are 10 places on Earth where the laws of nature seem to bend, break, or simply refuse to cooperate with scientific explanation. From rivers that can cook you alive to ancient monuments that defy engineering logic, our planet holds secrets that even the brightest minds in science are still struggling to decode. Despite living in an era of AI, satellite imagery, and particle accelerators, there remain places on this planet that make researchers scratch their heads, argue amongst themselves, and sometimes throw up their hands entirely. So let's take a journey around the world and visit the locations that continue to defy easy answers. We'll start with perhaps the most famous mysterious place on Earth, the Bermuda Triangle. This loosely defined region in the North Atlantic, bounded by Florida, Bermuda, and Puerto Rico, has captured imaginations since the mid-20th century. Roughly 50 ships and 20 aircraft have reportedly vanished within its boundaries. In 1918, the USS Cyclops disappeared while carrying over 300 crew members. No wreckage was ever found. 27 years later, Flight 19, an entire squadron of bombers, vanished into the same airspace. Again, no wreckage, no explanation. But here's the twist. Australian scientist Carl Kruselnicki analyzed the data and concluded that the percentage of accidents in the Bermuda Triangle is statistically identical to anywhere else in the world. Lloyd's of London doesn't even charge higher insurance rates for ships passing through. The World Wildlife Fund's 2013 study didn't rank it among the 10 most dangerous shipping lanes, so the Bermuda Triangle might be the most famous mystery that isn't actually a mystery at all. It's a manufactured legend, kept alive by decades of sensationalism from authors like Charles Berlitz, and yet that USS Cyclops still hasn't been found. Now let's fly south to the Nazca Desert in Peru, where over 800 straight lines, 300 geometric shapes, and 70 animal designs are etched into the desert floor. These geoglyphs, designated a UNESCO World Heritage Site since 1994, were created between 500 BC and 500 AD, and they're so large that most can only be fully appreciated from the air. Erich von Däniken famously claimed in 1968 that alien astronauts must have built them, but researcher Joe Nickel debunked this entirely by recreating the figures using only tools available to the ancient Nazca people. No aliens required. What remains genuinely mysterious is their purpose. Were they astronomical markers? Ritual pathways to summon water in a region that receives only 20 minutes of rain per year? German archaeologist Maria Rai dedicated her life to studying and preserving the Nazca lines, proposing they were an astronomical calendar. In 2024, archaeologists using artificial intelligence discovered 303 previously unknown geoglyphs depicting parrots, cats, killer whales, and even severed heads. The Nazca Desert is still revealing its secrets. Crossing the Atlantic to England, we find Stonehenge, a monument older than the Great Pyramid of Giza. Construction began around 3100 BCE, and ancient peoples transported multi-ton stones from the Preseli Hills in Wales, over 100 miles away. In 2024, researchers traced the central 6-ton altar stone not to Wales, but to Scotland, some 750 kilometers from the site. Then, in 2026, a Curtin University team effectively ruled out the glacier theory by analyzing river sediments near Stonehenge and finding no glacial signatures whatsoever. People moved these stones. How they did it remains one of archaeology's great unanswered questions. Back in Peru, deep in the Amazon, geoscientist Andres Russo stumbled upon something extraordinary in 2011, a river so hot it can kill you in seconds. The Shanai Timpishka, known as the Boiling River, reaches temperatures up to 99 degrees Celsius. Russo described watching animals fall in and having their eyes cook first, turning milky white as they struggled against water that was literally boiling the meat off their bones. The nearest active volcano is 700 kilometers away, which makes this river a geological anomaly. Scientists believe rainwater seeps deep into the Earth's crust through fault lines, gets heated by the natural geothermal gradient, and then resurfaces. It's a plausible theory, but one that hasn't been fully proven. In Death Valley, California, the sailing stones of this dried lake bed leave long trails across Racetrack Playa as if dragged by invisible hands. Hundreds of rocks, some weighing over 300 kilograms, puzzled scientists for over 70 years before they finally caught the rocks in action in 2014. The answer was surprisingly elegant. Thin sheets of ice, formed overnight and broken apart by midday sun, were pushed by gentle winds into the rocks, nudging them across the muddy surface. The team documented over 60 rocks moving in a single event, but they admit that the mechanism for moving the largest boulders may involve something else entirely. In central Norway, the Hessdalen Valley produces floating lights that have baffled observers since at least the 1930s. These aren't auroras, and they're different from typical ball lightning phenomena. They hover, shift direction unpredictably, and glow in white, yellow, blue, green, and red. They can last for over an hour. Project Hessdalen, the ongoing scientific investigation at Østfold University College, has documented these lights for decades, yet no scientific consensus exists on what causes them. This is one of the genuinely unsolved entries on our list. Near the town of Gryfino in Poland, 400 Scots pines planted around 1930 all bend sharply northward just above ground level before curving back upright. The most likely explanation is human manipulation for curved timber, as naturally bent wood is stronger than wood bent after felling. But the town was abandoned during World War II, and the people who planted those trees are long gone. The definitive answer may have died with them. At the mouth of Venezuela's Catatumbo River, lightning strikes up to 40 times per minute across 160 nights per year, making it the most lightning-dense place on Earth. Scientists understand the general atmospheric conditions that fuel it, but in 2010, the lightning simply stopped for 6 weeks without explanation, then started again. That interruption and what triggered it remains a genuine puzzle. In the Mapimi Desert of Mexico lies the so-called Zone of Silence, where legend claims radio signals fail and compasses spin wildly. When an American test rocket crashed there in 1970, Werner von Braun himself came to investigate, but researcher Andrea Kaus, who completed her doctoral dissertation on the region, reported no radio or compass issues whatsoever. The mutated animals people claim to see are simply part of the area's rich biodiversity, including 200 bird species and 400 plant varieties. This one appears to be more legend than reality. And finally, off the coast of Japan's Yonaguni Island, divers discovered the Yonaguni Monument, a massive underwater structure featuring stepped terraces, sharp angles, and pyramid-like formations. Marine geologist Masaki Kimura believes it's evidence of a lost civilization, possibly built by the ancient Jomon people 10,000 years ago. Others, like geologist Robert Schoch, argue it's entirely natural, formed by tectonic activity and ocean erosion. The scientific community remains genuinely split. So what have we learned? Some of these places, like the Bermuda Triangle and Mexico's Zone of Silence, are mysteries that science has largely dismantled. Others, like the sailing stones, have been elegantly solved. But places like the Hessdalen Lights, the Catatumbo Lightning's strange pauses, and the Yonaguni Monument remain stubbornly resistant to explanation. And that's perhaps the most humbling takeaway of all. In an age where we can map the human genome and photograph black holes, there are still corners of this planet that remind us how much we have left to learn. The Earth, it turns out, isn't done surprising us.